How's it going, everyone? Sean here from Raw Technique Studios. Today I want to talk about recording, a couple techniques that I use when recording. I was just recording an artist yesterday, and what I'm going to be going over is recording in your DAW, as well as using direct monitoring, low latency monitoring, all the different ways you could go about recording. So let's go ahead and start that. I'm going to start by muting my direct input, and let's just go ahead and talk about how this works. So say you're in Pro Tools and you want to record some audio. What I'm going to do is, for this, I'm going to go out the regular outputs, so output 1 and 2 of the Apollo, because I use the Apollo Twin. Now, if I put this in record mode, check 1 2, you could hear me. All right, so that's the source from Pro Tools. If I'm getting latency and I want to have no latency at all, what I can do is come up here, go to low latency monitoring, hit enable, check 1 2. Now I don't hear the output in Pro Tools, but I want to hear the direct input from my interface. So I'm going to unmute this. So now this is the direct input from the Apollo Twin interface. This is not going through the DAW and then back out the interface into my headphones. This is what's going into it. And this is a great way to have no latency on the vocals. So the artist or yourself, whoever's singing or rapping, is going to benefit big time by having that. Plus, inside of your DAW, your playback engine can still be high. I have a high buffer size here. Normally, if I was monitoring through Pro Tools with a buffer size this big, it would cause huge latency. Usually, if you're recording in Pro Tools, you're not doing direct monitoring. You're going to want to record at a lower sample rate, 256, 128, something like that. So it just depends whether your computer could handle it, and the latency, whether it's bad or not, will determine whether you'd use a low buffer size and monitor through Pro Tools, or do a high buffer size and just monitor through console. So every interface, it might be a little bit different. You might have a console that comes with it, so you could adjust things, do direct monitoring like that, or it might be on your interface itself. As I saw here on Sweetwater, they talk about low latency monitoring, but also it says if you need to monitor the signal that comes from Pro Tools, but you don't want the delay, you will need to turn off direct monitoring on your interface. This can be done from some kind of control panel software, so like this is for the Apollo Twin, or via mix knob on smaller interfaces to blend the direct source with the DAW return. So there might be a mix knob on your interface that could be direct, or it could be from the DAW. So depending on your interface, you'll either have a software or it'll be on the interface itself that you could adjust. Now, I like doing the monitoring through console just because there's absolutely no latency, and I could still add some stuff on here. So say the artist wants to listen to some reverb on their vocals as they record, I could go over here on an aux send and put a reverb up here. So let me just throw on a reverb, and let's have that go on my send here and turn this up. Check 1 2, and now they have reverb on their vocals. So that's something they could do if they want reverb on their vocals. And that's not going to be printed, so you don't have to worry about it being put onto the recording. It's just an insert that they hear. And then you also have inserts on the channel itself. So let's say I want to throw up a compressor on here because I want it to sound really compressed as they are recording. So let me adjust the peak right here until I'm getting a good signal. Check 1 2. And then turn up my gain here. Check 1 2. All right. So now I have compression on the vocals, and right now it is set up so it's only being monitored. So if you look over here on my insert effects, it's set to UAD monitor, and this makes it to where you hear it as you record, but it's not getting printed on the track. If you want it to be printed on the track, say you're running through a compressor and you like how it sounds, and you want it printed as you record, you're going to switch it over to UAD record. And this is something that is for the Apollo Twin and the UAD software. So if you have a different interface, then this isn't something that applies, but for the Apollo Twin, here it is. Now I'm recording this compressed signal. This is just monitoring, this is recording it, all right? So that's the difference there. Say I want the compressor there, I want to hear some reverb, check, 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 1, 2. It is going to record the compressed signal, but it's not going to record the reverb. And that's because even if I'm in UAD record mode right here, it's only, see this little red dot? It's only recording these inserts here, not my sends, on my inserts that are on my send. So you don't have to worry about that. Say I want to use a preamp emulation, because that's something you could do. I'm going to go up here to the Unison Plus, click on that. Let's go with the preamp. Here's the Neve. I could throw on some EQ here. Check, 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 1, 2, check, 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 1, 2. All right, so here is running through a preamp. And you do not need UAD record enabled to run through this preamp. So whatever you put here will run through and be recorded. It will be printed on. But if you put it here and you put monitor mode, now it's just being monitored, but this is still being recorded in. So the monitor insert effects is right here, inserts. That's what you're either recording or monitoring. Inserts over here on your send, you're not recording at all, regardless of which one you pick. It's always monitoring. And then right here, it's always being printed on and recorded with, unless you disable it. So I can disable it, and now I'm going through the regular preamp. So those are the different ways of recording with emulations, inserts, and so on. And we're all in the direct monitor mode, so we're not going to get latency on any of that. If I was in Pro Tools and I'm monitoring through Pro Tools instead of my direct, so let's go ahead, mute this out, and then let's turn off low latency monitoring. Now I'm getting this signal. I'm going to take off the record button because I can hear the latency. So now what I'm going to be doing is recording in here, and I could add these plugins. So I'm getting reverb, compression, EQ. But if I lower down my, say, 256 on my buffer size, so CPU overload error, increase the buffer size. Okay. So the only way around it, being able to use all your plugins and everything like that, being able to monitor through, is better if you go through direct monitoring. And you can do that on any interface. It's just going to be different, whether it's software, it's a hardware knob that you have to switch, whatever it is. You want to be able to monitor in direct monitoring. So hopefully that explains the difference between monitoring through your DAW, monitoring through directly through your interface. Hopefully that helps you guys out with your recording. Also, just as a little side note, notice my recording levels. I try to record between -12 and -18 as my average. That way, if there's louder parts, it'll have some headroom to come through. And if there's quieter parts, it's fine. I'm recording in 24-bit in Pro Tools. That's plenty of dynamic range to increase the level and not have any noise in the recording. Hopefully that helps out. If you're interested in picking up a free course on mixing like Drake, go ahead and click on the link down below in the description, and I will have that sent over to you right away. All right, so thank you guys for watching. Peace.